Where we are all set for Friday night's installment of the NBC Sports Network's Fight Night Boxing Series. We have a spectacular show planned here, which is going to be live on the NBCSN Sports Network at 10 p.m. Doors open at 6. This is another fantastic show that's been put together by the gentleman at my left, Russell Pelt, and our spectacular matchmaker, intrepid matchmaker, Jolene Mazzone. It is going to be a treat for everyone, and we are thrilled to be back here in downtown Philadelphia, where it seems boxing was just about born, and where we're trying to keep it alive. So everybody, I want you to, if you can't, you should just come out, right? Don't even bother watching on TV. Everybody should come. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my partner.
If I may brag, outstanding male journalism graduate, class of 1968, Temple University. Now I'm president of Pelt's Boxing, where I work with Maureen Sachs, CFO, Brittany Rogers of BAM Boxing. I take orders from them. I also work with Main Events, where I take orders from Kathy Duva, Nicole Duva, Jolene Mazzone, Alexis Mann, Ellen Haley, Kim Newman, and Lisa Meyer. You think marriage is tough? Whoever said women are the weaker sex, that person must have been dyslexic. We're here to talk to you about the big show Saturday night, 2 outstanding heavyweights in a city that produced one of the greatest heavyweights who ever lived, Joe Frazier. We had a press conference about a month ago in which I got up and said the winner was going to fight for 6 figures in his next fight. That's really against my religion, so if anybody quoted me on that, let's forget about that right now. A couple other comments about that press conference. My friend here to the right, Brother Nazim, he said everything I do is cold and calculating and by design. It's not really true. I did go up to him within seconds of Amir Mansour knocking out Kelvin Price in December, and I said, this is the fight, Cunningham and Mansour, and he gave me a comment, but we're here anyway. But I would like to say this to you, Brother Nazim, in case, just tell you a little thing about me. Years ago when I was dating a girl and I spent the night at her house, she made me breakfast the next day and she got up and sat on my lap and put her arms around me and she said, Russell, you're like a box of chocolates. So whenever you think about me in the future, I want you to think about a box of chocolates. Is that their cherry in the house? He's not here yet, okay. I just wanted to mention a fighter who's not up here on the dais, junior lightweight contender Edgar Cherry, 31 wins and 6 losses from Nassau in the Bahamas. Anytime Edgar Cherry's in the first or second fight on a card, you know the card is stacked. This is an excellent main event and an even just as good semi-final between 2 outstanding middleweights in a city that has had more than its share of outstanding middleweights over the years. Plus, these guys are not cute. Toriano Johnson and Curtis Stevens, they come to fight just like the 2 guys in the main event. But before we get to them, we'd like to introduce a couple of other fighters. A new recent signee of main events, a super middleweight from Miami, Florida, scored a sensational knockout recently at Resorts International. He's in an 8-round fight Friday night, Roberto Acevedo.
I feel happy that thanks my event, thanks NBC. I'm from Puerto Rico, Bayamón. I'm happy for this opportunity. I get hard work. I know I'm gonna do a great job. Thanks for this opportunity.
Next to Roberto, another recent signee with main events, an undefeated light heavyweight from Cuba, Sullivan Barrera, making his 2nd appearance in Philadelphia. I'm sorry. Excuse me. Okay, we'll take the other end of the, Sullivan Barrera is making his second fight in Philadelphia. He boxed on our last show at the Alhambra. He won a 6-round decision over on the NBC Sports Network. Mike Lee from Notre Dame to the far right, making his first appearance in Philadelphia. We'd all like to give him a big welcome.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. I've had that happen more than once.
I'm really excited to fight here in Philly. It's my first time here. I just want to thank a few people. First of all, Main Events for putting me on this card. Very excited. I want to thank Chris Bird, who's been training me out in San Diego, and my strength coach, Phil Landman, and then, of course, my father, John Lee. So we had a great camp, great team, and I'm excited to show everybody what I'm all about. Thank you.
I'd just like to acknowledge, if he'd raise his hand, he just walked into the room, Edner Cherry. Main Events matchmaker Jolene Mazzone worked long and hard to try and find someone competitive to fight Curtis Stevens Friday night. And it dragged and dragged and dragged, and sometimes you can go 3 or 4 weeks without making a match, and then sometimes a match can fall into your lap at the last minute, and it's better than anything you'd planned. There are more than a few people whose opinion I respect in the business who feel that Curtis Stevens may have bitten off more than he can chew. I did get a chance to see Toriano Johnson box on one of our Tomas Adamek cards a few years ago at the Prudential Center, and he was extremely impressive to the point where we were thinking of signing him, and by the time we got around to it, he had gone elsewhere. So now he's coming back to maybe haunt us. He's undefeated in 14 fights, and he's extremely confident going into this one. So I'd like to welcome now Toriano Johnson.
Good to see you all. I will be brief. Good job, Almighty God, thanks. It's a pleasure to be back here. Back with Main Event. I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity, in spite that I was given less than a month notice to fight Curtis. But hey, I'm grateful to be here to do what I do best, and that's to go in there and beat the guy up. I like what Curtis said. I be following you, man. I respect you. You're a good athlete, you know, and real good with promoting the fight. I said I'm a slapper, I'm a bit sloppy. That's good when, well, if you say so. Well, then that means, you know, when we come Friday night, somebody's gonna get bitch slapped. So that's just the way it is. But hey, I'm looking forward for this fight. I'm excited. I'm going to enjoy this fight. I can't say the same for him, but I'm going to enjoy this, and I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it as well. So God bless y'all, and let's pray that I do not put him to sleep in the hospital, okay?
Thank you. Okay, the last time I was in the same room with Curtis Stevens, it didn't last too long. I think it was less than 60 seconds. It took him to knock out Patrick Majewski in Atlantic City in January. I think this fight will last a little bit longer than that one. As I said, this is a town that's produced some of the best middleweights in the history of the sport, and it's a pleasure to have Curtis Stevens bring his arsenal here to Philadelphia Friday night. Curtis?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Like I was saying, all glory be to God. I'd like to thank my terrific promoter, Kathy Duva, for promoting me very well, and my surrogate mother, Jolene, for matchmaking me very well to the point I am now. I don't have too much to say, you know. I'm just ready to go in there Friday, just take care of business. And that's it. Thank you.
Now, lots lot's been made out of the fact that Amir Mansour spent about 10 years as a courtesy of the state, but Steve Cunningham, for much of his career, has been in his own prison, and as Pete Rose said, sometimes it's a prison without bars, hampered by different people who he had hoped were doing the best for his career, but didn't really do that, were probably doing the best for their own careers and not Steve, and yet he still survived and did well enough to win the World Cruiserweight title and become a factor in the heavyweight sweepstakes. People say, well, maybe Steve's over the hill. I don't know that Steve's so over the hill. I mean, in my opinion, and a lot of opinion of other people who were at the fight, he defeated Tomas Adamek in December of 2012. And I think the only reason he lost to Tyson Fury is that Tyson Fury is about 14 feet tall, and Steve still had him on the floor. And he is coming off a win, and he does have loads of experience. And this is, as I said at the original press conference, this is a fight in which nobody's going to bet the bank on either man. That's why it's a good fight. So I'd like to introduce, well, first, my favorite trainer of Steve Cunningham, brother Nazim Richardson.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and supporting us. I'd like to thank Russell Peltz and Kathy Duva and Jolene and the whole team for putting this together and bringing some exposure to this outfit. What I mentioned, that Russell had brought up earlier, what I mentioned before is right after Mansour had fought, Russell had approached me and said, Mansour and Cunningham. And I asked Russell at the time, I said, Russell, are you a promoter or are you an instigator? Because when Philly's fighting Philly or the local guys are fighting the local guys, if I tell the South Philly guys that you're acting like chumps to the North Philly guys and they start fighting, I'm the promoter. So that's how I pursued that at the time. But looking, like I say, Russell's a genius at what he does. Looking at it, it's a great matchup style-wise. You know, now I'm not gonna, I like both of these young men, and I'm not gonna speak on behalf of them, but I'm gonna mention something in short for both of them. At this press conference, we were going to discuss the fight, the skill sets of these guys, and who's going to do what. Just a short sidebar. I'm no upset with this young man here for not bringing my Triple X jacket like this. I know him since he was a baby too, cold killer. And what I was speaking about is that we're not going to discuss Steve's situation. When guys talk about looking death in the face, any of you who have taken a trip, and you also have kids, I'd ask to you, what is more threatening? What is more rougher to deal with? Taking a trip or dealing with your children? And you'll know, if you know what this man has been through with his daughter, none of us know that pain. None of us know death like that. None of us know to face death in that category. Death for us is nothing. But to face the death of your child maybe, on a day-to-day basis, and been fighting it, and the kid fights like a warrior, that's something special. But we're not going to get into that. Like I said, we know too. We're not going. Some people have been approaching me about Mansour in jail and blah, blah, blah. And I won't let them speak bad about my brother, because that's still my brother in Islam. But what I will say is this. When we talk about jail, we know there's a rare guy, like he said, a middleweight, who went to jail, came home, and was a successful champion. There's only been a few. There's only really been a few. And not saying jail's not a dark place, 90% of the guys do come home. Out of all of y'all that I know, very few of y'all have a story that just said, my guy Bob went to jail and he died there, the guy killed him. Ain't too many of us got a story like that. Most of them do come home. So when you're in a place where there's all murderers, but 90% of the people come home, could change you coming home. You know what I mean? So we're not going, it's not about jail. It's not about Steve long walk, because his walk is unbelievable. We could do a whole story on what him and his wife facing outside of boxing. It's bigger than boxing. And I'm not sure if I'm man enough to face it, or too many people are man enough to face it when they deal with their children. But the man is here. I watched him persevere. I watched him become a 2-time world champion. Okay, we're going to deal with the skill set. See, because anything else, when we start talking about streets or anything else of that nature, guys from the street will try to intimidate you with street. They will win some fights intimidating you with that. But when we start matching skills, what I want to know is, do I think Mike Tyson won some fight because he had some guys scared? Yeah, we do know that. But a lot of it comes down to skills. Steve Cunningham is not going to scare anybody out the ring. He's not going to intimidate. He knows every fight he won had to be about skill. He didn't scare anybody. Nobody was too afraid to fight him back. In the heavyweight division, he's so small, they all welcome to fight him first. You dig me? But you ain't seen him back down from nobody, including the biggest cat in boxing now. The largest man in boxing right now, he took it. He wanted to fight. When I'm looking at him like, hold up, dog. You ain't one of the bigger cruiserweights. You know what I mean? But this is the guy that he is. And it was based on skills that he's persevered, and what he's accomplished has been done on skill. He hasn't looked anybody in the eye and they got afraid of him. He hasn't swung big at anybody and then they just got scared, backed up in the corner and gave him the fight. He's had to beat every one of these athletes with skill, and that's the only way he can win the fight. Now he has a matchup with Mansour, who, like I said, I dig Mansour because he has gotten to where he is with what he has. And I respect any man that does that. And that's why I'm a fan in the sense of that, because I watched the way how he did it. I mean, I know his team. I'm impressed with all of them. I have nothing but great things to say about them. I respect them. I respect his managers. I know these guys, they're deep in boxing, and I respect everybody in here. But what I'm telling you is what you're going to see Friday is a matchup of skills. So if you see Steve slugging, something might have went wrong. And more likely Mansour made it happen. If you see Mansour trying to box, y'all know something that went wrong. Because you ain't never seen him do it in nothing else. So when you see anything out of the ordinary, you will know the other man has caused that. So look for these things when you see it come Friday. Thank you for your time and your patience.
Oh yeah. I'd like to say thank you everybody for coming. Give honor to God in Jesus' name above all. I'd like to thank Main Events for putting this together with Peltz Promotions. Was that proper? It's Peltz Promotions.
Legendary.
No doubt. And NBC, of course, for putting it on TV, for giving us this audience again. And Concrete, you know what I'm saying? I'd like to thank them dudes, man, that whole family right there, man. That's a story in itself. Like Nazem said, I'm not gonna get into what we've been through, what we're going through, because I signed the contract, I'm here to fight. But I just wanna say, the main thing I wanna say, and if you understand where I'm coming from, finish it off for me. Hold up now. The evidence, what is the evidence of things not seen but hoped for? Faith. There it is, baby. Faith. That's all I got. That's all I've had my whole career. Faith, 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 faith. When I turned amateur, when I turned pro, and I met my wife, you couldn't tell us that we wasn't going to be world champion. I didn't know I was going to be two-time world champion. But you couldn't tell us back then that I wasn't going to be a world champion. And I looked like crap. You can ask Chris Bird. I sparred with him in 2000, you know. I saw the video a few months ago. I'm like, oh man, I look like crap, you know. But you couldn't tell me then that I wasn't going to be a world champion. And that's all because of faith. I have faith. I have faith not only in me, not in my skills, but faith in God. Faith in what he says I can do and what I can be, what I'm supposed to be. So I back down from no man. I know Mansour, you know, when you hear Mansour, you get toughness. You get, yo man, that dude grimy, you know, he gritty from the streets. And in actuality, who isn't from the streets? Who isn't hard out here, you know? Who survived? I know dudes who haven't survived that were hard. They're in their grave turning worms, you know, worms eating them right now. You know what I'm saying? I got friends that's in their grave because they were hard. You know, we all hard when we need to be, and smart man knows how to survive, and he knows when to fight, and he knows when not to fight, you know? But I've been there, I've done that, you know what I'm saying? Thank the Lord I didn't get locked up for the dumb, stupid stuff I did. Thank the Lord I didn't get killed for the dumb, stupid stuff I did. I wouldn't have them beautiful kids over there. But we all have the rough, tough story, you know what I'm saying? So I take that into account when I train, when I get up in the morning to do my cardio, when I work, and when I step in the ring. You know, I'm scared of no man. No man on this earth scares me, especially within the four-corner ring with rules. You can't bite me, you can't kick me, you know, you can't knee me. All you gotta do is throw two arms like I got. Look, I'm down, I'm game. So with all said and done, I'm getting in this ring to win convincingly. I don't care about what the other things I've been hearing about Johan and Peltz and the power that they have in Philly, and if it's close, it's gonna go to Mansour. I ain't worried about none of that. I know God got me, and I'm His. So we gonna get it on Friday.
Hey Steve, you mean I don't scare you? I have to apologize. I missed out on a former heavyweight champion at the far end of the table. He's got a knockout win over Vitaly Klitschko, Chris Bird. Okay, one of the first people I met in this wonderful business back in 1969, to my left, he's here with his son, Johan, of Johan Promotions, involved now with the career of Amir Mansour, probably the leading pay-per-view, as I call him, mogul in the country. I'd like to call up now Johan to say a few words.
Good job.
Well, thank you, everybody. On behalf of my dad and Amir and Moses, we want to thank Kathy Duva and the main events team, and Russell Peltz and the Peltz boxing team for allowing Mansour to have this opportunity. I'm really not the person to really talk about what's going to happen in the ring. I think what's going to happen in the ring is going to happen between these two really great fighters. I want to just say congratulations to Steve Cunningham for being just a great champion and a great representative of Philadelphia. The same for Brother Nazim, has always been that type of person, always been a trainer and a person that our family has looked up to, and we respect them very, very much. But for anybody that knows me, I'm a little bit of I'm a basketball fan, and Russell and I joke a lot about Temple basketball and things like that. And if you've been watching the NCAA tournament recently, you know, you realize now they're down to the Final Four, which is really the cream of the crop. These are the teams that are, you know, really the best teams that have had the best seasons. And I think what you have on Friday night is you really have two really, really great fighters that are championship caliber fighters. Two guys that I hear the word about faith, I hear the word about heart, I hear the word champion with both of them. There's nothing about either one of these fighters that we should, you know, even question. They're going to go in there. They're both very, very prepared. And I think the fighters themselves, and I'm going to let Amir talk about what his plans are, but it's going to be a great fight. We're very appreciative for everyone to allow our team to be involved, and we're really looking forward to it on Friday night. So thank you very much.
Next to Amir on his left is a guy I've known for about 40 years. You know you're getting along in years when the trainer of Amir Mansour, Howard Mosley, I remember when he boxed the trainer of Brian Jennings, Fred Jenkins, for me back in 1973. I've been around a long time. Howard, you want to say a few words?
Good afternoon, everybody, and glad y'all here. To represent Steve Cunningham and Amir Mansour. Amir Mansour, to me, is a great champion. He's not a champion yet, not a world champion, but he trains and he fights like a champion. And I'm just excited that I'm a part of this. I know Steve Cunningham. He's been a beautiful champion I look up to. I've admired the way he handled himself, his wife, his kids. I mean, bless them all, you know. And I hope that, you know, he has the tools to do what he has to do. But I really believe in my heart Amir Mansour worked harder than anybody I've ever seen. And I've been around a lot of champions. I've never seen him work this hard for anything. And he has natural talent. Sometimes he don't have to work hard and he can get the job done. but today I've seen him really bust his butt. I mean, he's really bust his butt training. Anything I asked of him to do, he did. So I'm looking forward to a great fight, and I hope that they both fighters that come out the fight, they come out of the fight healthy and be able to walk. And I'm looking for a great fight between both of them.
I would like to say to Steve that I wish I had as much juice with the officials in this city as he thinks I do. I don't think any promoter's gotten his own fighters beat in his own club more in history than I have. Now we come to the USBA heavyweight champion Amir Mansour, and there's a couple restrictions before he gets up to talk. Number one, if you talk for more than 4 hours, we're going to play music, okay? Or I'm going to have to get the hook. And number two, there's no crying in boxing. So don't get up here and start crying again, because it's just not allowed. Okay, the USBA heavyweight champion, Amir Hardcore Mansour.
Thank you everybody that came through today. You know, I don't know if the message that I got out there is that I'm trying to scare this guy, or that I'm trying to act like I'm some type of gangster or street dude or whatever. You know, listen, I despise the streets, and I despise anybody that carries themselves like a thug or carries themselves like a gangster. That mess got me in prison and caused me to serve 16 years and 8 months of my life in prison. That's nothing to brag about. I don't brag about prison. I don't brag about being incarcerated. I am ashamed of being incarcerated. Right. I am totally, you know, disappointed with myself, you know, that I was away from my children for all those years. You know, I had to watch my kids grow up behind the prison walls. So I'm not glorifying prison. I'm not using prison, you know, to be a pedestal, you know, for my toughness or anything like that. You know, you walk the road that you walk, you know, and the road that you walk shapes and forms and molds you into the man that you are. I'm the man that I am, you know, and I don't deny who I am as a person. I don't deny my history. I don't deny my present, and I don't deny my future. And my future is to be successful in this game right here. When you talk about skill sets, I haven't seen any type of skill sets that can outmatch mine. I just haven't seen it. I have not had to use certain skill sets. Sometimes I had to, you know, utilize strength instead of skill. Sometimes I had to utilize power instead of speed. Sometimes I had to throw 1 instead of 2. Sometimes I had to throw 3 instead of 1. You know, if you look at my record, you know, I don't have a padded record. You know, I didn't have the luxury of fighting a bunch of bums to build my record up. You know, I fought Dominic Gwynn, I was only 14-0. You know, everybody said, y'all moving this guy too fast. Y'all moving Amir too fast. Y'all moving him too fast. He can't beat no Dominic Gwynn. Dominic Gwynn 37-8, 27 knockouts. This guy only got 14 fights. Dominic Gwynn got 290-something amateur fights. This guy has no amateur fights. If he don't knock Dominic Gwynn out and it goes this distance, Dominic Gwynn's going to easily outbox him. I outbox Dominic Gwynn every single round. I have a very, very talented skill set of boxing. I don't know what convinced them that I can't box. I can box. You understand me? Trust me, I can box and I can outbox you. You can't beat me in boxing. You can't beat me in fighting. When we get into this ring, I'm coming to do what I need to do. I'm not letting nobody take my title. You're not going to outbox me. I'm the champ. You got to come and get this. I'm not chasing you all night. I'm not chasing you all night. You're not going to beat me with no red. You're not going to beat me with no jab. Calvin Price thought he was going to beat Amir Mansour with a jab. He threw 134 jabs. He landed 10 in 7 rounds. And 9 of those were on my shoulder because I allowed them to. You're not going to beat me with no jab. You're not going to beat me running. I'm the champ. You're going to have to come and get this. You're going to have to engage. You're going to have to come get this work. You're going to have to come get this work. You're going to have to come get this work. Thank y'all for coming. have said prayers, you know, for this man. I really did. I have said prayers to him, and I pray that Allah guides him and that Allah protects his daughter and whatever they're going through. You know, I resent that was even brought up. You know, that's a personal thing. And I honestly have said prayers for this man and whatever he's going through with his family and his children, you know, and that's the reality of it. You know, we all going through things. You know, I got a baby on the way. You know, I got kids with problems. You know, I got a son on medication. You know, we all go through problems with our family and friends. But I'm the champ. You gotta come get this work. I'm not chasing you all night like a nut. You gotta come get this work. You're gonna get this work. Thank y'all for listening.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming. There's still plenty of good tickets on sale, ranging from Q&A. Well, hold it. Sorry about that.
We got an undefeated light heavyweight from Philly fighting.
On the undercard, the Bigfoot.
Any questions from the audience for anybody up here on the dais?
The champ going to sleep.
Okay, go ahead, Mel.
Okay, first question is for Steve Cunningham. Steve, what do you think your advantages are in this fight?
We ain't gonna say too much about that.
Yeah, man. I think there's so much, you know, I can't pinpoint it, but I mean, not underestimating Amir. Of course he has, or people think he has the advantage of power over me. I think we should have proven people wrong with the Tyson Fury knockdown. One punch, knocked down a 7-footer, 6'9", 270. I mean, he's got speed. I think I'm faster. You know, I think I've got, my main advantage is experience.
Amir, what do you think your advantages are?
Overall, I believe that my advantages in this fight is just overall boxing, fighting, just everything that I bring to the table. You know, he was the great cruiserweight champion, but this is the heavyweight division, and that was several years ago. You know, this is my time. Ain't nobody stopping me. I believe he would be more successful, you know, trying to step through somebody else in this division, but not Amir Mansour.
And while you have the mic, do you think this is your toughest competition to date?
No. I think he's the most decorated heavyweight that I fought, but I don't think he's the toughest or the most difficult heavyweight that I've had before.
Who do you think was?
The most difficult probably was Dominic Wynn and Maurice Harris. Maurice Harris came. He's a fighter that a lot of people avoid. I just recently watched David Price sign a deal to fight him, pulled out because he heard he was training. He's the type of guy, a lot of up-and-coming heavyweights want to get through, but they won't fight him because you never know what type of shape Harris is going to come in. And he came in great shape against me. You know, he went 12 rounds with me. Of course, I was sick at the time, but, you know, I make no excuses. He has a very high skill set of boxing.
And another question for Steve. Are you worried about Amir's power?
It's boxing, you know what I mean? This is what we sign up to do. We sign up to fight. I'm never worried about anyone's power. You know, I fought powerhouses all my career, back to back. Marco Huck, stopped him in the 12th round. He was a powerhouse. I fought Adamic right after. He was a powerhouse. He knocked me down 3 times, but arguably on one of the judges thought I still won the fight. You know, before that, I fought Krzysztof Lidarczyk in Poland twice. He's a powerhouse. I mean, I've been facing, like I said, man, faith. You know what I'm saying? Faith. I've been facing this type of situation since day one.
This question is for Curtis Stevens. Curtis, does fighting an undefeated, hungry guy like this concern you?
No, he's undefeated, but he's 14 salty, so come Friday, he won't be in there with the real thing. I can show him, but I can tell him, so, you know.
Mr. Johnson, do you think Curtis can show you anything that you haven't seen in a fight before?
not new to this boxing, so pretty much there isn't much Curtis can show me. This is most definitely the most important fight of my life, but I would not find this to be one of the most difficult fights in the past or even in the future to come.
And the last question is again for you. Have you faced anyone with the kind of power that Curtis Stevens has?
No, I ain't never fighting nobody with Curtis Stevens power, so Curtis could forget that. That dude ain't catching me. No way. I'm brave. I ain't scared of him, but I ain't stupid to get hit from that dude. That dude hit like
Okay, again, so tickets are $41, $58, $86, and $113. We expect a nice turnout Friday night. They're still available on Comcast Tix or through my office. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for telling me.
Rich, you just tell me what?
Good for me.
Everybody face forward?